Hello, Incredible One. Welcome to the Incredible Factor Business Podcast, the place to be to grow a business that shakes the planet. I'm your host, business growth coach, Darnyelle J. Harmon. Join me each week for inspiring stories, powerful interviews, and business growth strategy to help you experience abundance in your life because of your business. Oh, and one more thing. On this podcast, I'm going to keep it all the way real with you about the good, the bad, and the incredible of entrepreneurship. But don't worry, it's all for your good so that you can build a business that funds the life you crave. Let's jump into today's episode. Hello, Incredible One. Darnyelle here. Welcome back. This episode is powered by the Breakthrough Tour. We are pulling into Atlanta, Chicago, Washington, D.C., as well as here in my home state of Delaware this March. If you are tired of sitting in struggle and ready to strut in significance, visit breakthroughandbusinessevent.com/tour to learn more. In our last episode, we talked all about the pillars of business optimization, which is part of phase 3 of the Leverage Your Incredible Factor system. The pillars have become the backdrop of the work that I have been doing with my clients to help them connect messaging and marketing to sales, systems, and scale. But you know me, and you know what that means. We are switching gears yet again. In 2016, I had a business breakdown. I was ready to give it all up and go get a job. Yep, me, the girl who said she's never sitting behind someone else's desk again. Couldn't take it anymore. I was tired. I was frustrated. I was unhappy. I was unfulfilled. I was overworked. I was literally burnt out. So burnt out. And I remember crying out to God, as I often do in those moments of despair. You have to help me, God. You have to help me. And just as I was about to throw in the towel, I got the inclination to try one last thing. And that one thing is now known as the Breakthrough Blueprint. So in this episode, we're going to talk all about the breakdown that is likely to happen at some point in time in your business. I pray that it doesn't happen anytime soon, but if it does, I really do want you to be prepared. And we're going to, as a result of that, of course, spend some time talking about the 6 inches in between your ears. Yep, your mindset. But it's important for you to understand that understanding the Breakthrough Blueprint, understanding the signs of being on the verge of a breakdown so that you can shift and experience the breakthrough is essential to your next level. And because we're about to hit the road for the Breakthrough Tour, where I will be doing an introduction to the Breakthrough Blueprint, I thought it'd be pretty cool to give you a quick overview here as I share some more of my story with you. Now, I know that I did share with you previously that we crossed the 7-figure mark for the very first time in my business in 2014. And I'll be honest, if I didn't tell you this before, it was a complete surprise. We had not planned for it. It's part of the reason why I ended up paying approximately $400,000 that year in taxes. I'll share that in an upcoming episode. But by the end of 2014 and into 2015, the business was set up to double again. I was sought after. I had built a team of full-time employees. So yeah, just think about what that payroll must have been. In fact, I'll tell you, to turn the lights on every single day, it cost me about $40,000. And if I'm being honest, I hated it. Oh, and I know hate is such a strong word. But I did. And honestly, it's the only emotion that gives enough life to how I felt at that time in my life. I mean, and I know what you're thinking. How in the world could she be complaining about having a multi-million-dollar company? But here's what I need you to know. Having money for the sake of having money, it sucks. It's everything Biggie said it would be. It's more money and more problems. I mean, have you ever heard the saying that money is just an amplifier of who you really are? Well, as a result of building my company to $2.8 million by 2015, I have to tell you that I learned who I didn't want to be when I quote unquote hit it big. I was angry. I was frustrated. I was short-tempered. I mean, I was miserable. I was a bitch, for lack of a better way to describe it. And honestly, I owe an apology to everyone who was on my team during that time. And I owe you an apology because I hated myself. And so I projected on you. So I apologize. I'm so sorry. I did not know what happy was. I didn't know what my happy place was. I felt this huge sense of obligation and responsibility, and it created massive overwhelm for me. And I literally, I was the worst. I can't even try to make it sound good. That's how bad it was. And by 2016, I realized that I needed to shift, that if I kept on the path that I had been on, it was going to get really ugly. And I was going to ruin my chances of really being a planet shaker, quite honestly. I loved the work that I was doing, but everything else was really creating just such disdain in me. It was the worst. You'll probably hear me say that a lot. It was literally the worst. And as I realized in 2016 that it was time for me to make a shift and I needed a big shift, I was questioning everything, especially God. Why had he brought me to this place of despair? I remember in 2013 him saying that if you take a bold stand for me, I'll make it easy. Well, this was anything but easy. And that's what we do, right? We want to blame other people for our inability to manage our lives like adults. If I'm keeping it real with you and telling on myself, I wanted to blame other people. I wanted to place blame in other places instead of taking a hard look at myself in the mirror. But I got to that breaking point. I got to the point where the path that I was on was going to lead me to self-destruction. And I knew that there was more in me. There was more for me to do on this planet. And there was no way in the world that although all I wanted to do was give up, that I could actually give up. Oh, gosh. It was a time when I really felt like I was a one-trick pony, that all I had was business success. And I didn't have anything else. And I needed to do something about it. And I needed to do something fast. So enter what is now called the Breakthrough Blueprint. During the time of me going through all of the steps, it wasn't the Breakthrough Blueprint. It was literally just my last ditch effort to save my life, to save my sanity, and to reposition myself into someone that I could enjoy looking at in the mirror. Because up until that point, I kind of avoided the mirror. It was easier to act as if my stuff didn't stink than to open my nostrils and take a good whiff of the nastiness that I was. I hope you don't mind that I'm being this transparent with you, but I need you to understand this, because you need to be able to identify where you are in your process of building your business to determine if you need a breakthrough, right? Needing a breakthrough isn't just about knowing that you're so much more than is showing up in your business. And don't get me wrong, that's a key indicator. But it's about being out of alignment and not loving the skin that you're in, not giving yourself permission to thrive in every possible way. Those are just some of the signs that you need a breakthrough, right? If fear is everywhere, if anger is everywhere, if blame and finger pointing are everywhere, you, my friend, incredible one, you need a breakthrough. So during this time, all I could think about was what I didn't have. I want you to write this down. What you focus on expands. My lack expanded into every area of my life and eventually into my business. My confidence waned. My sales skill dissipated. I mean, I couldn't close a sale to save my life. 2016 was like the most barren year ever in my business. And it started to become a real struggle to make ends meet. My income decreased by more than $1 million. And it just became so clear that I didn't know who I was anymore, that I was so busy trying to run from all of the fear and the frustration that I lost myself in the process. I really took all of this lack as a sign that I was out of alignment. I was the furthest thing from seeing myself the way God saw me. And it was ugly. It was really, really ugly. And so I had some decisions to make, and I had some tough things to do in order to get myself back, in order to get my groove back, as Stella might say. The Breakthrough Blueprint is a 3-part process that helps you get back into alignment so that you can live the life you've prayed for, dreamt about, and put on your vision board. And now I want to just kind of break down for you each part. So the first part of what is now known as the Breakthrough Blueprint is breaking down what you really want. The money, the house, the relationship, the body. In fact, it's incumbent upon you to look at every area of your life and be honest with yourself, right? You have to be willing to ask yourself the hard question. What do I really want? And I don't know about you, but I know when I'm asked that, I often used to struggle. Now I'm so clear that I know exactly what it is that I want. But there was a time when someone would ask me, how can I help you? What do you want? And I would struggle to give them a response, because knowing what I want would require me to take a very hard look at the truths that were my life. And I wasn't always prepared to do that. And so what did I want? Well, first and foremost, I wanted someone to share my life with. I was tired of being a one-trick pony. I was tired of coming home alone. I was tired of being quote unquote successful without anyone to share it with. I mean, you can only call your mom so many times before you can, before it gets old. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted my business to change lives. I wanted to shake the planet. And I wanted to make more money than I would ever need in order to live my lifestyle so that I could really be a philanthropist. Like, I have this humongous heart to serve. I really do. And when you are not doing well in your business, you can't help anyone else. And I wanted to be able to serve. I mean, over and above my desire and want to tithe, right? I wanted to restore communities. I wanted to be able to create environments for people to live their best life. And it's just impossible to do that when you're in struggle, right? When you aren't in alignment. I wanted to weigh 25 pounds less at a minimum. I wanted to wake up every single day on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. I wanted to love myself. I wanted to look in the mirror and smile the most cheesiest smile I could smile and expose all 6 of my dimples. That's what I really wanted. I wanted to be happy and fulfilled with Darnyelle Antoinette every day of every week. Once you're honest with yourself and you give yourself permission to want what you want, you're ready to expose the gap. Exposing the gap will bring some real emotions to the table for you. And those emotions will challenge everything that you are. But write this down. You cannot conquer what you refuse to confront. And exposing the gap is necessary, right? We've got to figure out where we want to be and compare to where we are right now so that we know what we need to modify, what we need to change in order to get to the other side. And here's what I need you to know. If there is a gap in your life right now, 9 times out of 10, the reason there is a gap is because there's unforgiveness somewhere in your heart. No one likes to deal with unforgiveness, but I promise you, unforgiveness will keep you from the things that you crave. I know I had a lot of forgiving to do. Let's just say it that way. I had to first and foremost forgive myself. I had to forgive my parents. They did the best that they could with what they have. I know that now. But when you're playing victim instead of living as a victor, you want to blame everyone else instead of looking at the man in the mirror, right? I have to forgive those who hurt me or despitefully used me. All of them. Every single one of them. I had to remember that forgiveness is for me. It's not for them. Like, it didn't require me to pick up the phone and to say, I forgive them. In fact, if you have unforgiveness in your heart and you have people that you need to forgive them in your own way. You don't need to have a conversation with them, because 9 times out of 10, they don't even know that they hurt you. They don't even remember, and all it's going to do is piss you off even more, right? So kind of avoid that. But you're going to have to run what I like to call the forgiveness protocol in order to truly clear the decks, remove all unforgiveness, and open yourself up to love, right? Because you cannot experience love when you need to forgive. Write that down. You cannot experience love when you need to forgive. All of this is part of the first part of the breakthrough blueprint. It gets really, really heavy. It gets really heavy. And we round out that first part with what I like to call the surrender ceremony. You've got to surrender. You've literally got to throw your hands up. Take your hands off of everything and allow yourself to be taken into the custody of God and his abundant universe so that you can get everything that's been earmarked and reserved for you. That's a high level of part 1. It's deep stuff. It takes a lot to really run part 1 of the blueprint. Part 2 is about breaking out from what's not serving you. So in that part, we unearth your fears, your self-sabotage, and your limiting beliefs, and we have a funeral for your inner 7-year-old. I know, you're shaking your head. What is this woman talking about? Did you know that when you were born, you're only born with a subconscious mind? That your conscious mind is formed between birth and the age of 7 based on every experience you take in? The highs, the lows, the ebbs, the flows, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It becomes who you are consciously. And so most of us, because we had no idea that this was happening, we get these patterns created. And in 7-year increments, 7-year intervals, we experience a repetition of what we got in our first 7 years of living. And so those of you who struggle and have a terrible relationship with money and can't figure out why you've been unsuccessful at raising your rates and charging what you deserve to charge for the service you render. Those of you who struggle with sales conversations because you have a fear of rejection, all of that stuff didn't just show up. It's been in your life somewhere between birth and the age of 7, and you've been replicating the pattern ever since. So we literally have a funeral for your inner 7-year-old. And we round out that section going through the alignment process and spending time creating new mirror moments. Now, the mirror moments, I'm going to quickly sidebar for a second just to tell you what I mean by them. And then, of course, I will do a full-blown episode on mirror moments because it is really powerful and you've got to understand it. But all day, every day in your life, what you are experiencing are a mirror back of what you're putting out into the world. What you're putting out into the planet is coming back. So if you're not getting what you want, it's because you're not putting out what you should. That's the quick and dirty on mirror moments. Again, we'll talk more about that later. And then part 3 is breaking through to the life and the case of the people I work with, the business that you want. Once you've cleared the deck from what's been in the way, you can revisit what you really want and enact a plan to achieve it. See, here's what I know. And I teach this everywhere I go. Most entrepreneurs and small business owners do not need more marketing and sales strategy. Sure, there are some people, they need to understand how to do Facebook ads. They need to understand how to position themselves from the stage in order to be able to close a sale. There are some skills that you need to learn, but the majority of it you already have, and it would work if you were not in the way. So the beauty of the Breakthrough Blueprint is that it clears the decks for you to show up powerfully as who you were created to be. The process is so deep and intrinsic. It's so deep, in fact, that I developed a 3-day live experience to walk people through it so that all the work is done in the room. And when they leave, they can truly live their biggest breakthroughs. And I'll be hosting this event again, May 22nd through the 24th of 2019. And we're going on tour in March of 29 to offer an introduction to the work. It is really, really powerful. And it's what I've come to realize after 11 years in business, having worked with tens of thousands of entrepreneurs and small business owners. It's the missing link. It's what's in the way. It's the reason why businesses don't flourish at the level that they want. And there's so many things that go into creating a need for a breakthrough. So many things. Here are just a few of them. So one of my favorite universal laws is the law of circulation. And I'm going to give you the Darnyelle version of it. You might want to look it up to get the exact verbiage, but I'm going to give you the gist. The gist of the law of circulation is that abundance is expanding at an ever increasing rate. So that means that abundance never stops. It's always happening. It's always going around. If abundance is missing you, it's because you have stopped the law of circulation in your life. Here are some ways you can stop the law of circulation. If you go out to a restaurant and you don't tip your waiter or waitress, or you undertip them. See, you think that if their service is mediocre, they should get a mediocre tip. But what you're really doing is you're saying to God in his abundant universe that you don't believe in the power of abundance. Because see, the law says that because abundance is increasing at an ever expanding rate, you just keep giving in abundance. You never know where your abundance is coming from. And you don't need to know because it's always going to come to you if you're always putting abundance out. Another way that you could stop the law of circulation from flowing is if someone gives you a compliment and you downplay. You say, oh, this old thing, or I've had this for years, or if you say anything other than thank you, you can stop the law of circulation from flowing abundance into your life. If you don't charge what you should be charging in the marketplace, you can stop the flow of abundance. See, money needs to flow. In order for you to get abundance, money needs to flow. And this is why it's so important not to barter. And I want to stay on track because I'm getting off a little bit. I will do a full-blown episode on the universal laws that govern life and business and break down for each of them to you so that you can get a great understanding of them. The breakthrough blueprint, this 3 parts, breaking down what you really want, breaking out from what's not serving you, and breaking through to the life and business that you want, changed my life. It changed my life. Looking at my life in this way, going through the steps, exposing my gap, doing my forgiveness work, surrendering, dealing with my fears, my limiting beliefs, and my self-sabotage, holding a funeral for my inner 7-year-old. All of these things changed my life. It opened me up to get all of the abundance that had been earmarked and reserved for me. And as a result of the breakthrough blueprint, I met and married my husband. I shifted my business to one that serves me fully. I'm still making amazing money, but now it's not my burden, it's my joy. Everything has changed because of the breakthrough blueprint. And I just want to invite you, if you are trying to figure out why things are not happening the way that you want, I want to just inspire you to do the work and to look at what in you needs to change in order to access everything that you are wanting. Because I promise you, if you really shift the way that you look at everything, then everything around you will change. Everything around you will change. It's really interesting because when I think about all of the time that I've been in and around my business and in and around mindset work and working specifically with people around the things that are keeping them from everything that it is that they want, I've really realized that it's only going to change when you really allow yourself to shift. Honestly, I mean, it's when everything starts to change for you. And so what I really want to leave you with as we prepare to round out this particular episode is I want to leave you with some clues that you're on the verge of a big breakthrough. That you're on the verge of a big breakthrough. Okay? If you're feeling fear, you have to know that every and anything worth doing and having starts with fear showing up first. If you're feeling separated from your circle, the people that you used to be down with and hang around with, and now they agitate you, if you're tired of the status quo, if a disruption has occurred in your life, if big opportunities are showing up for you, but you feel like you're not ready for them, and you're experiencing lots of breakdowns, then you, incredible one, are on the verge of a big breakthrough. So I want to make you an invitation. I believe that invitation precedes transformation, and I want to invite you to join me on tour. If you are anywhere near Atlanta, Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois, or Newark, Delaware, I want to invite you to join me on tour to be introduced even more fully than I was able to do in this episode, the Breakthrough Blueprint, and to offer yourself an opportunity to get help breaking through to your next level everything. Here's what I know. The Breakthrough Blueprint, it changed my life. It took me from breakdown to consistent breakthroughs. And I know that that's just the beginning of what's possible for you if you experience the same thing. So until we meet again, I want you to know that I do have a breakthrough with your name on it. I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you for joining me for the Incredible Factor Business Podcast. I'd love to help you grow a business that shakes the planet. Get started today by joining our exclusive community at sixfigurecashflowclub.com. And if you enjoyed our time together, do yourself a favor. Head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Until next time, you deserve a business that funds the life you crave. Take care.